Okay. So let's continue with displacement. What is the displacement of the ships? The weight of the ship and all that it contains. For example, cargo, fuel, water, store, crew, and effects. So it means when we mention about the displacements, you need to weight everything. So basically, in the maritime transport, it divides the displacement of the ships into the two main kinds. First one is a light displacement, and the second one is a heavy displacement. Light displacement is this is the weight. Các bạn chưa nhìn thấy slide à? Cho con.
Teacher.
Share.
Sure. I'm sorry, but before we move on to the next part, can I ask you to clarify the case study that you mentioned about going from Australia in the summer to Vietnam in the winter? So the ship going from Australia to Vietnam, when they reach Vietnam port, the ship will sink, will float more, right? Or sink more.
So in the winters, you need to understand that in the winter. So how about the draft or throttle vessels?
In the winter, the draft is lower.
It's lower, right? So if it's in key, the same amount of goods. So it means that the ships, because the ship's still full of load.
Yes.
So and it's very heavy now. However, in terms of draft the port, so the draft the vessels now is lower. So if we can keep the same amount of goods, so our ships can be stranded. Stranded. Have I ever said about that? So that's a very popular case. If we can keep the same amount of goods, because the ships are very heavy, but now actually the draft the vessels, because of the season, because of the changing in the temperatures of the waters. So that's why if we can keep the same amount of goods, so our ships will be in the case of the stranded. Is that okay? Leah?
I'm sorry. When you say that the draft in the winter, the draft is lower, do you mean that the ship is more floating or more sinking?
More floating, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Because the amount of goods, so it means the amount of goods that you can carry should be lower, should be reduced. When you have, if we are in the summer, so now it means the goods should be higher. It means we can load more goods. But in the winters, so because the draft of vessels will be lower, the vessels more floated. So that's why less amount of goods can be loaded onto the vessels. So that's why we should reduce the amount of goods, the volume of goods during the transportation process, or we should transit the goods, a portion of the goods to another ships, for example. Is that clear?
Yes. So in salty water, because the ship floats more, we can also load less commodities, right?
Of course. Okay. Of course. If we want to keep the same amount of goods from the part of loading to the part of distress, so please just load. You have to take into the consideration about the seasons in the unloading port, in the discharging port. So if you can to keep the same amount of goods during the transportation process, you don't want to transit, you don't want to maybe to take come in any other port, for example, in order to reduce the quantity of the goods or the volume of the goods. So please just load less amount of goods from the originals of the origin ports. I mean the port of loading. That's fine. But if you want to take advantage of the capacity of the ships. So you can, at the part of loading, you can load more, but during the transportation process, for example, you can combine with other to deliver the goods to the other cargo owner at other port, for example. So what I mean is, at the first port, you have the full of load, and then for the second port, during the transportation process, you deliver an amount of goods to the other cargo owners, and then you continue the transportation process up to the final destinations. So because you have already delivered an amount of goods, a portion of goods to the other ship owners, so now the volume of the goods on board of the vessels has been reduced, so it's suitable with the season at the port of unloading. So that's my suggestions. Is that clear? Any questions so far related to the draft?
Excuse me, teacher. I have a small question because you said that if the boat is more floating, so you can carry less goods. So why that? Because I thought that if the boat is more floating, you can carry more goods. I think that I just don't understand about it. Thank you.
Okay. If the vessels more floating, what I mean is a portion of the vessels under the water lies. If we take a look into the portion of the vessels under the water lies, right? Actually, that is it reflects the capacity of the ship to carry the goods. So now, because the ship is more floating, so what I mean is the draft of vessels has been lower, and it's a little bit related to the physics knowledge that you have learned previously. So if the ship is more floated, so it means the amount of the portion of the ship under the water lines will be lower. It means you can load less amount of goods on board the vessels. So please check a little bit about the physics knowledge that you have learned previously. Is that okay? If the portion of the vessels under the water lies lower, so it means the capacity of the ship to carry the goods also be lower. If you try to put more goods to the ships, so it means our ship will be in the case of stranded. Finally, that is the final consequence for the ships. If we try to load more goods, in the circumstance that the draft of the ship is lower, that's the final consequences. All right. So now let's continue with the specifications. Light displacement. So it means this is still the weight of the ships, but it we have to minus several things. So for example, the cargoes. So it means the light displacements. It means the weight of the ships and something that's and several things that it can contain, including fuels, including water, store, crew, and effects. It means the necessary things for the ships to operate. So that's about the light displacement. How about the heavy displacement? The heavy displacement actually is equal to the light displacement plus the weight of the cargo. The weight of the cargo. So the heavy displacement is equal to the light displacement plus the volume or the quantity of the cargo. Remember that's about the difference between the light displacements and heavy displacement. How about the deadweight tons? Sorry, I want to give you the concept in terms of Vietnamese. Displacement in Vietnamese it means trọng lượng của tàu. Next one is the deadweight tons. The deadweight tons. This is the difference between the heavy displacements and light displacements. Deadweight tons. In terms of Vietnamese, should be trọng tải của tàu. Displacement, trọng lượng của tàu. Deadweight ton là trọng tải của tàu. So this is the difference between the heavy displacement and light displacements. So it measures a ship's total carrying capacity. So and this is actually, if you take a look again about the difference between the light displacements and heavy displacements. So we can see this is the difference between the two things. It measures the ship's total carrying capacity. And for the cargo deadweight tons, the weight remaining after the deducting fuel, water, store, tonnage, and such other items necessary for use on the voyage from the deadweight of the vessels. So what it means is deadweight tons should be the trọng tải toàn phần, and cargo deadweight tons should be trọng tải tịch. Right? The gross registered tonnage. This is the total cubic measurements of the ships. So it means we have another way to measure the capacity of the ships. One way is use deadweight tons. So we can use the units in terms of ton in order to measure the capacity of the ships. And about the gross registered tonnage. So this is another unit that we can use in order to measure the capacity of the ships, but in terms of measurements, what I mean is the total cubic measurements of the ships. So it means you need to measure the engine room, the bunker tank for fuels and water, seamen's accommodations. So it means we measures all of the room, all of the areas in the ships that we can use in order to store not only the cargo but other things like engine room, like bunker tanks of fuel and waters, and also for the accommodation of the crew members. So in Vietnamese we have, this is the, how can we translate it into Vietnamese? Dung tích đăng ký toàn phần, gross registered tonnage. Dung tích đăng ký toàn phần. And similarly for the net registered tonnage, it means dung tích đăng ký tịch. Dung tích đăng ký tịch. So what does it mean? The net registered ton, this is a available cubic capacity for cargo. It means we only measures the any areas that only used to carry the cargoes. So we don't include the engine room or bunker tanks for fuels and waters or the accommodation for the crew members. We only measure any kind of room and any kind of areas that we can use in order to carry the goods. So that's the difference between the GRT and NRT. And what about the cargo space? Cargo space. For the cargo space, it measures, it also can be divided into the two main things, grain space and bale space. So why the reason why we divide the cargo space into the two main things, because we in international trade basically we can divide the different the commodities into the two main things, the grain space and the bale space. The grain cargo. So for example, we carry the raw material, we carry the rice, we carry any other kind of goods, but we don't use any package in order to pack the goods inside that kind of package. So for we have the grain cargoes. For correspondingly, so we have the grain space. This is the space which the ships available for the cargo in bulk. And how about the bale space? This is the cubic content of the ships that is available for transport of goods packed in bale boxes or crates. So the difference between the grain space and the bale space. And if we just compare a little bit between the grain space and the bale space, so we can see that which one is more, is largest. Grain space and bale space, which one is higher or which one is largest? Which ones? Which one is largest? Green space. This is the space of the ships that used to arrange cargo in bulk. It means cargo with a big volume, but no package, like a bill or the box of crates. So, for example, we carry the raw material, we carry the maybe coal, the rice, or maybe the corn, but without any package. But for the bale space, it means, for example, we still carry the rice, but we put the rice into the polyester box. We put it into the polyester package. Or maybe we carry the other kind of goods, but we need to put it into the box. We put it into the crates. We put it into the pallets. We put it into the container. And then we load everything onto the vessels. So between the grain space and bale space, which one is higher? Which one is higher?
Grain space.
Grain space, of course. Because of the grain space, we don't need to use any package in order to store, in order to pack the goods. So that's why we can take advantage of the bale in order to load more goods onto the vessel. So according to the statistics, actually, grain space usually higher than the bale space from 5 to 10%. So you can see depending on the type of the package. So the grain space will be higher than the bale space from 5 to 10%. So remember that. So that's about the, I think all of the specifications. But I think, I'm sorry, so I don't know why. It's in lack of the other two specifications. So I'm going to send you later on. So maybe there is some problem with my slide. You see that the other two specifications. Okay, I'm going to send you later on. So because today we for the infrastructures, the other thing related to the infrastructures, so we have the seaport, but related to the seaport or ocean port, I'd like you to read by yourself. And actually, this is also can be seen as a very interesting topic. So you, if you want to do the presentation related to the seaport, because usually I encourage a student to maybe to see the current situation of any kind of port, not only the port in Vietnam, but also the port in other countries, so that you can see that what are the current situation in terms of the infrastructures, in terms of the logistics services that they can provide it to the ship owner, to the cargo owners, and to the freight forwarders. And also you can see the how about the maybe the procedures at the seaport, including the custom procedures and the other things. How about the IT system in the seaport, for example? So for the seaport, I encourage you to read by yourself, and I only gave you the definition related to the seaport here. So if you want to do, any one of you or any group of yours would like to do the presentation, so this is very interesting for you to do the presentations. So that's why I'd like you to read further about the seaport in terms of not only the definition, but not only the rules, but you should read for the situation of anyone and any port that you prefer to know about the further information about that port. For example, you can share information related to some very big port in the world, like in Netherlands we have Rotterdam port. In China, we have Shanghai port. In Asian areas, we have Hong Kong port. We have Singapore ports. They are very popular one, and they are usually the biggest port, and also the port with the highest number of ships and the largest quantity of goods come in and out every year. So you can read further informations. So for our countries, Vietnam, so we have in the north areas we have Hải Phòng port, and also we have Cai Lân port in Quảng Ninh province. And in the middle area in Da Nang we have Tiên Sa port. In in south areas, we have Saigon Port, and also we have Cái Mét Thị Vải Port in Vũng Tàu province. So that are the very big ports in our countries, and Vietnam also is also kind of the countries with many strengths in terms of developing the ports. And we also have the strategies in order to develop the port system up to the year 2050. So that's a very long strategies. However, that's very important because this is the most important infrastructures in order to support for the logistic services in our countries and also in other countries. So if you want to know more further about the ports, ocean ports, so please read and pay more attention to the maybe in the way that you can read some information in the modern port in other countries, and then you can withdraw some lesson for the port, for the ocean port in Vietnam. So that's my suggestions for the seaport. So next, for the next class, we are going to talk about the methods of vessel charters, and we go from the liner charter. So I'd like you to read my slide first, and then I'm going to upload the documents related to bill of lading. So please read very carefully all the information related to bill of lading. So later on, I'm going so in the next class we can discuss more about the bill of lading functions, different kind of bill of ladings, the way to use bill of ladings. And then for the next, the other class, the class after the next class, we have to mention about the legal system. So I'm going to upload everything in the materials, in the class material. So please read. So today, sorry, I want to stop a little bit earlier because I have sore throat. So please prepare for the next class and see you in on next Friday, on next Wednesday. Do you have any questions? Any other questions? No? So you don't have, so we can stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay, bye-bye.